to the National Assembly, with the legislature on a recess. Now, Vice President Kashim Shettima wasn't officially empowered to act in his absence. Now, this trip follows numerous foreign trips made by President Tinubu. Now, we will be putting up on the screen, let's take a look at a breakdown of the president's visits in 2025. I mean, I was racking my brain trying to remember when last I heard the president was on vacation. I thought I heard he was on vacation earlier this year, but he's been out of the country way too many times. I can't even keep track. But talking about keeping track, let's do a bit of track keeping here. Okay. Well, this might be coming up on your screen very, very shortly. But we see that the president has, in January, I think the only month the president didn't travel was in March, because in January, he attended a summit on energy in Tanzania. In February, he traveled to France for a private visit, and then before attending the African Union Summit in Ethiopia. In April, he visited France and the United Kingdom, private visit. In May, so March, he was home, right? He was in Nigeria the whole of March. And, the interesting thing is that in all of these visits, he spent at least 10 days abroad. Now, in May, he attended an inauguration in Rome, Italy. And then June, participated in the Economic and ECOWAS Summit in Abuja, and then visited Benue. That's not traveling out, that's traveling within Nigeria. June, July, sometime in June, he went to St. Lucia and then to Brazil. And he did that to strengthen ties, all right? Strengthen ties. In August, last month, he attended an inauguration in Ghana and then visited Japan for TCAD 9, and then had a stopover in Dubai, and then returned to Brazil for a second state visit, and then came back to Nigeria, and 1 week after, he's out of the country again. Our president is a traveler. Officially, Nigerians can say. And what's the thing about a working visit? I mean, one should rest. There's a law in the civil service that you must go and leave. In fact, it's a law of nature. When God made the heavens and the earth, he rested. He rested from all the work that he had done. So the president should not be, we're speaking now. I'm concerned about the president's health, to be honest. All right? He needs to rest. He's doing all this traveling. He's doing all this work. And then, it's been said by those close to the president that he hardly sleeps. He's always working late into the night. And then there's time for you to rest. All you have to do is step aside, let somebody else do the work while you rest. But no, you want to continue working when you ought to be resting. Does he care about his health? Someone might say that might be, a rhetorical question. But shouldn't he let somebody else? Now, what's the fear? What's the fear in transmitting, in allowing somebody else do the work while you go lay your head down and raise your feet and rest? What's the fear?
Okay. The fear. I'm happy that you have temporarily made me the presidential spokesperson. So let me speak for the president. Unfortunately, I might just be able to hazard a guess, because if you transmit powers to your vice, the person is no longer the vice, he becomes the acting president. At the time that you are away from office. So what it technically means is that the acting president can do a whole lot of things, or can undo a whole lot of things that you have done, and probably that is the fear. And let's be very factual about it. Nigerians are concerned that, look, why is it difficult for the president to transmit powers over to his vice the moment he travels? And Nigerians are also saying it is clearly because of that instead of taking his annual leave to go rest, take care of himself, enjoy his life and all of that, the president decides to turn it to a working vacation. So by using working vacation, you can hold him liable to the fact that he didn't transmit powers, because after all, he's still working. He could work from anywhere You know, this is not the first time. Before the doctrine on necessity was pushed out, you know, to shove Yar'Adua aside and bring in Jonathan, a lot of people said that, look, the president could work from anywhere, from any part of the world. They even cited instances where the American president had to take decisions aboard Air Force One outside the, you know, border, outside American borders and all of that. But the real facts of the matter is that a lot of people know that we have a traveling president. And the question will be, to what end is the president embarking on all these travels? A lot of Nigerians don't see the benefits as we speak. Probably tomorrow. So maybe, are we making investments? Is the president making investments? And you know, something about investments is that it takes a while for you to have ROI, return on investment. When you break even, you have to break even first before you start talking about return on investments. All these travels that the president is embarking on, signing memorandum of understanding. In 2023, he went to China, signed memorandum of understanding, 5 of them, including development of nuclear energy and all of that. That was the last we heard of that. We also heard that there was this memorandum of understanding between the China state media and Nigerian media organizations. We have not seen any of that happen. And there were 5 of them, as a matter of fact. He went to France, signed MOU, so that France could come help us fight insecurity, develop our solid mineral sector. Have we seen all of that? He went to Brazil again, signed memorandum. At a point, they said, look, there's a $952 million deal between Nigeria and France, you know, to help us in agri-sector and all of that. They told us that there was a certain firm in Brazil that has a capacity to process 90,000 cows per day, the value chain and all of that. Have we seen all of that? No. But we have figures that says that, look, a certain $30 billion investment came in last year, 2024. Nigerians are asking, all of these things, how have they impacted on the life of the average Nigerian? So I will just take it that the president is making investments. Let's give him more time.
Yeah.
Let's give him more time. Probably.
You're making investments.
Yes.
And we're signing MOUs with Colombia to ensure travel between Nigeria and
Colombia.
Yes.
Colombia. Beautiful, beautiful.
And Brazil.
I'm not trying to see any connection there. I'm not. I didn't hear this.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't hear this.
Okay. All right. I see what you did there. Colombia. Okay. Well, and then going to Brazil as well. And I asked the question, Airpeace, if Airpeace decides to start traveling that route, it's a good one. But then, how many? Do we have, what's the number of travelers that come into Nigeria from Brazil? What's the number?
I think a lot.
You do?
Yes, I think a lot of Nigerians. We have a thriving Nigerian community in Brazil. Yes, we do have. Okay. Maybe the frequency, it might not be daily, maybe once or twice in a week. Because before you travel, before now, and if you want to travel to Brazil, you have to go to UK first. If you use British Airways, if you have to go to Brazil, if you use Air France, you have to go to France first before you now take down to Brazil. So these, cutting through the ocean, Atlantic, to get to Brazil, at least it brings in money for us, Forex. Like some people say, well, good business for Ellen Onyema and all of that, but I think it's a good thing. It's a good thing if you ask me.
It's
the president should rest. He should.
The president, as a matter of fact, the president.
Sorry, Fifida. It goes to buttress the distrust that exists between principals and those that deputize them. If you look around, how many governors? I think Sheyi Makinde, when he went on vacation, he transmitted power. I think so. I don't think anybody else. Some governors have not even gone on vacation since they came into power.
He's a quiet showman. He doesn't want it to, because I think he has his deputy under his thumbs, so he's very sure of that.
So it's not a factor of trust.
It's a matter of trust. It's a matter of trust. And with our president, you don't need to travel far to know all of that. Our president had 3 deputies when he was governor of Lagos State. And the seeming crack in the wall between him and the vice president and all of that. So, I mean, if I were him, I wouldn't do that.
Okay. All right.
You asked the question talking about fear, and I'm happy you know actually he's scared, and that was the reason he cannot transmit power to the vice president.
Okay, that's what you are saying.
That is what it is. It's not. It's not. You don't need anybody to tell. Okay, this is the reason, because even the back and forth now happening between him and whether he's going to take back the vice president that we have now as a running mate in the 2027 election, if he is to participate in that election, actually speaks volume too. And the fact that some other persons also are disgruntled with some of the things I'm talking about, the picking of the persons he has within the cabinet also speak volume to the issue of trust deficit now. But the problem I have is the fact that any little opportunity African leaders have, they are always ready to jet out of the nation. They are always ready to leave the continent. You know, can't we make our continent to be a wonderful place where people can come in now to rest? What stops the president from going on this particular leave to somewhere, you know, where he will go and enjoy the nature, the beauty of the world, the birds singing? Okay, you made mention of Budukati Run some of the time, and I told that the place is already going bad. Okay. Even we have the game reserve. Why wouldn't they fix it? They should fix it for you to work.
To be kidnapped.
I love going to Yakari Game Reserve then, but now I can't even go there again. Ever since we got a report that one part of it's now been taken over by terrorists harboring their cars.
Oh, and that is where you want the president to go. Okay, because he's the commander-in-chief, right?
Yes, he is. Must he jet out? Must he leave the nation to another place? Then, when you're talking about the places that the president visited thus far, some of the I think that is it there. We have it now on the screen. You find out that some places actually we have multiple visits. Yeah, like we have a multiple visitation in France. February 2025 was there, private and working visits in advance of the AU summit. Even in April, 2 weeks work visits focusing on midterm review of the administration. It's also interesting to know that even the president, for him now to, you know, to sit back and more like have a holistic view of whatever thing he must have done for Nigeria in 2 years, he had to travel out of the nation to do it. Why must we do it? Why? You know, that is actually what I want to talk about. And if we're to be Barrister Darlington, will say that you're forgetting about the ESTA codes. So his journey actually,
no.
His journey actually, you know why I'm feeling bad about this? Should I tell you why I'm feeling bad about this? Okay. In one breath, we're getting that Nigeria cannot pay debts. They cannot pay rents. And the person that told us that we cannot pay rent is also the person that's telling Nigerians that we have enough money to sponsor the presidential trips. Isn't this more like, you know, having two different things now? Which investment? How much have been raining actually when talking about
the thing is that Nigerians are talking about the president's absence.
He should be home. He's the father. He should be home. He should be home to do the work.
Him to do. Anyway, let's move away from that. Now, the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has made registering for National Identification Number, NIN, and voter card even easier now. You can get both at the same registration centers. According to INEC's Chief Press Secretary, Festus Okoye, selected offices offering continuous voter registration services will also provide NIN enrollment, making the process smoother for Nigerians preparing for the 2027 elections. While this integration cuts down on trips, paperwork, and wait times, and could be a game changer for voter inclusion and data accuracy. It's a good thing. It's laudable. Then my worry is, should INEC be the host organization like they made it look like here? That NIN is now going to INEC to say, okay, can you help us collaborate? No, it should have been NIN.
It should be the other way around.
It should be the other way around. It should be INEC going to NIN to say, okay, help us. Since your own is a standalone and a continuous exercise, can we just take advantage of this period, you know, use your offices to say, okay, people can come here, register. Because at the last time I checked, for you to register to be eligible to vote, you must turn 18. But NIN, 15, 16, or any of those years, you can't. Because I was thinking about it, and I recall that one of my sons had to register for his NIN to capture during WAEC. But he is not yet up to 18 to register for INEC voter registration card. So it should have been the other way around, that, look, INEC should have been the one to approach NIN to say, look, let's make use of your facilities. But it's a good thing, and the important thing is that we're trying to create a synergy. We have been saying all of this. Can't we have a one-stop shop where you go, walk in, register for driver's license, do your name, do your voter card, even passport, and we have a central pool where if you have a simple card, all your features are in that card. It's possible. We can do it. Others have done it before. Good one, if you ask me.
It's a good one if you ask me too, but the only challenge I have is I hope they won't tell Nigerians again that you need to buy your fuel because there's no power supply there. Maybe you have to go ahead to contribute money for you to be able to get the A4 paper for the printout because that actually happened to be some of the news we do have. I experienced that some time ago when I went for my NIN capturing. And
you're a thoroughbred journalist. For journalists, bad news is good news.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
Can't you just believe that this thing will work?
I know it's going to work. I know it's going to work, but I'm just saying it.
Don't say it. Just believe it will work.
All right, it's going to work. It's going to work. That's what
Moses, why are you looking at me like that?
Because I share a similar fear.
Both of you are thoroughbred.
That network will not happen again. You know, some persons it take days for them to get
even with the voter registration, a lot of people that try to do it when they, when it started initially, after registering online, complained about downtime, internet downtime. Yeah. All right, you go there and you spend the whole day, and the internet is down, and you're not doing anything. That's on one side. With NIN registration in the past, we see that people, regardless of the announcement made, people are still asked to part with certain amounts of money. You know, you tip either 5,000 or 2,000, and they tell you, oh, it's what we are using to purchase fuel for generator, so we can run the service. And then when you see people giving, you will have a choice but to give as well. So you end up, when I registered for my NIN many years back, I had to give some money.
I paid.
And
you paid?
It was supposed to be free.
I paid.
Now, what are you now saying? Is it not a good marketing strategy?
He doesn't want to be a naysayer. He wants to be.
No, what I'm saying is that Nigeria is work in progress. Let's believe we can fix this country.
Exactly.
Yeah. Let's be patriotic Nigerians, please.
But let's not shy away from the truth. And let those that handle these offices be honest. Let's try to be honest. All right? These things are provided for. There is a provision for diesel for your generator. There's a provision for internet. Let's fix internet. We have an internet problem.
We have
in this country.
We do have.
You know, it's terrible. I think there should be some sort of.
On the show, yeah, when we have diaspora callers and guests and all of that.
Diaspora is smooth.
It's very smooth. But the moment you get to Abuja,
and internet is critical to the development of any nation.
At
so
this
I think
moment,
we should work.
Yes, at this moment,
I think Nigeria should do something about that. Work with some internet providers and ensure that internet is smoothly given.
Seamless.
Yes, we should do that. Government should do that on their own, and then the telecom providers as well. And then we should make the space open for private investors also to come in. I think we have a few of them, but it's still pretty expensive. Some will tell you, oh, they are giving internet in your home, and then you pay exorbitant amount, but you know you won't be home all day. So it's basically wastage if you don't have children in the house to use them. You know, well, a lot can be done.
I believe that by 2027 will have to be the deadline. We'll have to be the deadline.
Nigeria is working progress. We're making progress.
We'll do it well. Away from that, the federal government, through Finance Minister Wale Edun, announced that the removal of the fuel subsidies in May 2023 has unleashed a dramatic boost in the state revenues, more than doubling what states previously received.
Said Finance Minister.
Finance Minister.
For a moment, I was like, oh, you have a minister?
Finance Minister.
Right,
this bold policy, though unpopular, is said to have restored investor confidence and freed up funds for critical sectors like health, education, and infrastructure. For instance, FAC allocation surged from 1.818 trillion naira in June to 2.001 trillion naira in July alone. Yet, for millions of Nigerians, they still battle soaring fuel prices, double-digit inflation, and relentless hardship. The fiscal boost feels distant from the people. I'm happy, when I saw this one, but the only thing that came into my mind is, okay, fine. How does this now trickle down to a Nigerian, or average Nigerian who happens to be part of a state now benefiting from it? If we're to be in Chukuma's language, I went there one time, they say, that is, how much is it? How much does it want in the pocket of an average Nigerian? Because yes, we've learned that the FAC allocation have increased, then the people are still crying. Inflation is still on double digits, and not just that too, we cannot afford things in the market. I'm not talking about myself, because some person will say, I can easily afford some things, but what about others who cannot? You understand what I'm saying? What about people who are suffering, who are actually out there struggling to make ends meet? How are they keeping up? How does this particular increase in FAC allocation now gets to them as a person. That is actually the challenge I have with all
you
this.
see, when I was younger in school, even at the university level, I was very good in economics, you know. But the moment this particular government came into office, I lost everything I know about economics.
Oh, really?
Because what I was taught in school is different from what I see, what they tell me. I understand that, look, there's more money now in the system. Governors are getting more money, but what are the governors doing with the money? And when you tell me, I can take all of these things, but it gets annoying when you tell me that because of that you have restored investor confidence in that. Which investor are you talking about? Whether they were told that people pulled out, foreigners, not even Nigerians, pulled out 562 billion naira worth of shares from the Nigerian market. And you're telling me that you have restored investor confidence. The other day, the president went to Brazil and said, look, corruption wiped out, economy is stable and all of that. And because of that, I have restored confidence in Nigeria. Mr. President, Mr. Finance Minister, it is not true. We don't see the investors. Where are they? Inflation is still high. What's going on? Nigeria, the PPP is still not favorable to Nigerians. The exchange rate is not good. It's not beautiful. It doesn't look good. The interest rate, balance of trade, and all of that. We don't see these things. So please stop giving us a textbook. In fact, it's not even textbook economics, because when I go back to my basic economics, and from what you tell me, I see a difference, and it doesn't look good for me.
It doesn't. The optics. It's bad for the optics. Government is saying it's working, and someone ran into my room this morning and said, "Oh, so what's the latest with the 5% on fuel?" I'm like, "It's going to stay." He said, "No, we have to do something about it. We have to. It can't stay. That's like taking away subsidy and putting more burden on Nigerians." I'm like, "That's the issue." Well, Nigerians are reacting to that one. You may not understand the economics being played out, but we can only keep hope alive and have our hope renewed, knowing that, yes, things will one day be better. Anyway, having said that, let's take a break. When we come back, we'll get into the papers for newspaper headlines. Well, let's go to the Guardian newspaper now. Let's take these headlines from there. The window headlines: Tinubu embarks on 10-day working vacation in Europe. 80 million Nigerian youths jobless. 1,500 schools shut in 2 years, says report. WHO, AU task Nigeria on 2001 declaration. 20% public health spending. And then the big story: how bias for sports entertainment reinforces school na scam myth. All right. And then we have police summon El-Rufai, ADC leaders for alleged conspiracy. Retired soldiers protest lacks merit, DHQ insists. Okay. ADC Aldu Obi faults Tinubu's fiscal triumphs as cruelty over compassion. Oshun Algon accuses CBN of sabotaging LG payments. 70% of telecom downtime linked to energy issues. I'm glad this is in the papers today. We're just talking about telecommunication downtime, internet downtime, and we hear that it is linked to energy issues. That's coming from the minister, Bosun Tijani. Oh well. Those are the headlines on the cover page of the Guardian newspaper.
And the Force News newspaper, Force Daily, is up next. And beside the masthead, Amnesty blasts FG over Southeast killings, demands urgent action. WHO urges Nigeria to raise health budgets to 20%. Bielsa strikes a $3 million deals with Japan Group for solar smart meter. FG issues flood alerts for 14 states, 43 locations at risk. INEC flooded with 171 applications for new political parties. And the banner headline reads, Insecurity boils over. Sokoto youths warn government, protect us or we will carry arms. I know bandits hide out but lack powers, and for a governor, right after that, he is withholding info, APC fires back. Northern youths reject state police, demand stronger NPF, and the bottom strip headline on the cover page of the First Daily today reads, Tinubu begins 10-day vacation, departs Abuja. Those are the stories on the cover page of First Daily today.
Now let's quickly run through the Punch newspaper with the window headlines. FG6 fresh $1.5 billion World Bank loan. I'll take that again for emphasis. FG6 fresh $1.5 billion World Bank loan. Okay, right. Now, new parties seeking INEC registration surged to 171. Jonathan blames betrayal for 2015 election loss. And beside the nameplate, Oshun Argon challenges CBN over LG account signatories. Now the big story. Afenifere, Northern leaders demand state police amid delays. With the riders, FG defense delay says security reforms undergoing due process framework with states. Afenifere, MBF, PANDEF insist state policing overdue. Northern leaders press for action. And now there are pictures there from Egypt, Palestine, Iran, and Yemen. Muslims faithful across the world celebrating Eid al-Maulud, the birthday of Prophet Muhammad. Now, more stories there. Train derailment sparks NRC reorganization. Panic as 5 bodies found along Lagos River bank. That's a sad one. CBT, WAEC mandates 250 computers, CCTV for schools. And that's it from the Punch newspaper. And
up next is a Daily Independent newspaper. Above the masthead, we have 80 million Nigerian youths unemployed. 1,500 schools short in 2 years. That is according to a report. INEC receives 171 letters of intent for registration of parties. Right after that, confirms 2.8 million voters for Anambra gubernatorial poll. The banner headline, Opposition queries Tinubu's admin revenue growth claims. Riders questions why FG is still borrowing if it meets revenue targets. Says 5% petrol tax cruel will compound misery of Nigerians. Obi criticizes FG over protesting ex-soldiers, retired public servants. FG eyes 10 billion SCF of gas production by 2030. Police summon El-Rufai, top ADC chieftains. The story is on page 7. And we have another story there, interesting one. Defense headquarters at ZHQ orders protesting ex-soldiers to vacate finance ministry premises. The story is on page 6 of the Daily Independent newspaper. Lagos raises the alarm over looming environmental collapse of lagoon. IGP names CSP Benjamin Hundein as new force PRO. And another bold headline, Nigeria's politics full of betrayers, lies, says Jonathan. The bottom strip headline, Tinubu heads to Europe on working vacation.
All right, I can feel the power with which Fina read that story on DHQ, ordering retired police officers to vacate the premises of the Ministry of Finance. You know, there was a lot more force.
It's on page 6. Emphasis on the page 6.
There was a lot more force in her voice when she read that. But let's check out another daily now. Let's look at the New Telegraph. The New Telegraph has these stories. The big story there is states' revenues have more than doubled since subsidy removal. Federal government. And then the riders to that story says, even PDP governors are happy with Tinubu. APC North Central chairman say, as ADC accuses government of monetizing hardship, false revenue claims, 5% fuel tax, leadership not about imposing burdens, Obi. And then the window headlines. Now, on top of the masthead, there are 2 stories there. Edo, FG committed to projected 10 BNSCF gas production. All right?
Okay.
And then we have African Airlines at crossroads, 80% of routes unserved, IATA. And then the window headlines. Niger bans religious preaching. Bago in the news. Imams, pastors to obtain license before evangelizing. All right. INEC says 2.8 million voters will elect Anambra's next governor. Number of associations seeking registration now 171. And then NAF, 15 terrorists killed in devastating Sambisa airstrikes, says every successful strike draws lasting peace closer. And then Italian fashion legend Giorgio Armani dies at 91. Wow. Okay, well, he lived a long life. He lived a long life. And then Zurich demands Fridays as work-free day for Muslims. All right, I thought we had this conversation some time back. MSSN wants FG against aiding Israel's genocide in Gaza. IGP appoints Benjamin Hundeyi new FPRO. 1999 Constitution has failed. Nigeria needs true people's charter. Wachukwu. Leaders should focus more on governance than politics. Iradia. 80 million youths unemployed in Nigeria. Report says about 1.7 million fresh graduates seek elusive jobs every year. Presidency to youths. Use opportunities in Tinubu's government to make positive impact. There you have it. And then the bottom strip there. Study links sugar substitutes to accelerated brain aging. Study links sugar substitutes to accelerated brain aging. Another reason you should stay away from sugary substances. Oh, well, those are the headlines from
there will be a lot of talking points during the newspaper review.
Oh, yes.
And it promises to be very hot and interesting. Oh, well, let's move over to the Daily Times newspaper with on top of the masthead, you have, I witnessed a lot of betrayals during 2015 election. That's coming from Jonathan. Jonathan seems to be talking a lot these days. Anyway, now the big story, FG to commence payment of debt owed local contractors. This is coming from the Deputy Speaker. And most stories there, both mishap, Labour demands robust legislation, stricter regulation of waterways. Nigeria seeks economic diplomacy agenda to empower women, youth. Troops arrest over 62 terrorists in 42 towns, villages in August. Now, this is coming from the DHQ, Defense Headquarters. FRSC, police strengthen synergy for safer roads in Lagos, Ogun. UNICEF confirms receipt of 300 million naira, pledge of 1 billion naira from Bauchi government for CNF. And that's it from the Daily Times newspaper.
I think we'll have to take on the Nigerian News Direct, and we have the banner headline, Tabia was betrayed during 2015 election, defeat Jonathan. And then just right beneath the masthead, again, Tinubu jets out of Nigeria for 10-day vacation. IGP names Sunday as new force PRO. FIRS approves e-transact for nationwide e-invoicing. Gateway International Airport secures Nigeria's force a drone operational permit. You're withholding intelligence of bandit hideouts from security agencies. APC tackles Zamfara governor. And those are the stories on the cover page of the Nigerian News Direct today. And that's how far we can go, taking a quick peep on the cover page of the National Dailies. Like Chukuma rightly pointed out, today's newspaper review is going to be hot, so do well to be part of it. And the time is 10 a.m. on top of the hour. There you have Chukuma and Moses here on your screen. Exactly.
We're still talking about major conversations this morning on VOP this morning. State of the nation. Let's look at the state of the nation. Revenue targets mean nothing without impact on people's lives. These words are coming from Peter Obi to President Tinubu. Well, let's x-ray the revenue target that the government said they talked about the other day, saying they had achieved quite a lot. Let's x-ray this when we come back. Join us again. Good morning. It's the start of a beautiful day. Or start your day right with a healthy dose of news, fun, and inspiration. Join us on VOP this morning for the latest news, trending topics, and uplifting stories to set your day on the right vibe. From news and current events to lifestyle and entertainment, you are covered.
VOP This Morning, 8 a.m., Monday through Friday.
In a world where truth is the ultimate power and opinions scream the loudest, it's time to wade through the noise.
Hunger no get tribe! Hunger no get religion!
And scan the human interest and trending topics that matter. Stay tuned to The Issues, your plug to the stories making the buzz, from politics to science and technology, social justice, and more. Let's tackle the tough questions and expose the truth. The Issues on Voice of the People Television. Don't just react, understand. The red carpets, awards, the razzmatazz, music, fashion, interviews, and more. Spotlight on Voice of the People Television. Let's feed you with all the juicy stories in the global entertainment space, bringing you the glitz and glamour as it is hot. Stay tuned to Spotlight, 1 p.m. Monday to Friday. Spotlight on VOP TV. Entertainment like never before.
Thanks for staying with us. Now, Mr. Peter Obi has fired a salvo at President Bola Tinubu's administration, asserting lofty revenue targets hold little significance when ordinary Nigerians continue to grapple with hardship. Speaking at a political forum, Obi emphasized that economic indicators are meaningless unless translated into improved living standards, access to healthcare, education, and affordable basic needs. While he warned that focusing on fiscal milestones without tangible impact risks eroding public trust and contributing to a governance disconnect. Responding swiftly, the information minister defended the president's development blueprint, saying it is driven by national interest, not politics. While he outlined steps such as infrastructure upgrades, economic reforms, and security initiatives, insisting that these are already laying the groundwork for long-term prosperity. Yet, with inflation still biting and services failing to deliver, many Nigerians are wondering if the policy promises are real or just polished rhetoric, raising the critical question: when will the country's numbers begin to reflect the people's reality? Oh, well, we are joined in the studio here in Lagos, where we are broadcasting from, by Maze Amobi Iheboro. Maze Iheboro is a political affairs analyst. Good morning, sir, and thanks for joining us.
Thank you very much.
Okay, beautiful. We'll also be joined by other analysts in the course of the show. But for now, let's stay with Maze Amobi. Maze Amobi, we are talking statistics. Government is giving us statistics. And Obi is saying, look, statistics don't translate to real life impact on the people. Now, this government has been very bold. The president has said consistently, my policies are making impact. The economy has been stabilized. We have made a rebound. You know, corruption has been eliminated, investors' confidence restored in Nigeria. Between those sound bites, I call them, between those sound bites and reality, what do you see as an analyst? What do you see? Maybe a lot of us are missing on something that you could help us understand. What's going on? What do you see between perception and reality?
Yeah, thank you very much.
You know as well as I do that P2B is very much at home with statistics. That was what he was known for, even before the 2023 general elections. He will reel out statistics and all that and all that. And this present government usually, deride him that statistics does not make any meaning.
Okay.
And all that. That was before the elections. And now, the same government is reeling out statistics and want us to believe that statistics is it. I do not believe that those statistics doesn't translate into the reality, just like P2B is saying. Just about 3-4 days ago, you saw the retired military personnel talking about their pensions. The other time, it was one other federal government organization talking about their pensions. We cannot appoint ambassadors on the strength that there was paucity of funds. The embassy staff cannot be paid on this same paucity of funds. And then we are inundated with statistics. I do not think it is correct for us to believe those statistics. The man on the street, the cost of tomatoes in the market says it all. What is important here is for the average Nigerian to be able to see this. Government should play down on propaganda. It doesn't work.
Okay, play down on propaganda.
Yeah, it doesn't work.
Mazi, let's talk a bit of economics here and business investment. Looks like what the president is clearly doing now is investing. You know, the policy initiative, the policy direction of this administration, do you in any way see that away from the rhetoric of economy stabilizing and all of that, the figures that are bandied around, do you see the policy initiatives taking us, are we headed in the right direction? Even if we don't see the impacts now. Do you believe that maybe in the next future, 1, 2, 3 years, that we could, you know, rebound as a people in terms of purchasing power parity, in terms of purchasing power of the individual, soaring income and all of that? The president says, look, even the finance minister says, look, governors are getting more money. And some governors have admitted, yes, we are receiving more money, all thanks to removal of fuel subsidy. Do you think that with this policy, this economy could be rejigged, even if we don't see the impact now?
The impact is far from now. I think the impact is far from now. What is more important is the body language of these policymakers. How do we perceive them? Because perception is real. How do we perceive them? Now, yesterday, the president has jetted out also. He told us he was going for a working leave of 10 days. Do you know how many human beings accompany the president on a working leave? Do you know? The aircraft will be packed. It will attract some charges from the airport and all that, and all, you know. So what I'm saying is that there is the perception we have about Nigerian economy getting better is very bleak. It's very, very bleak. Based on the fact that, some state governors have upped their ante in terms of the civil servants, the workers' pay and all that. But like Imo said, they are going to pay 104. Ebony said it's 90 and all that and all that. The important thing is 104,000 naira per month. Where does it get to average worker? The debate has been on minimum wage or living wage. We have not placed our hands on what it should be, whether it should be minimum wage or whether it should be
living wage.
Wage that can take somebody home. So I sincerely believe that the present administration is doing what they are doing. It's not translating into the real thing. The real thing is that you can afford to take your...
Mazi, we understand all of that. Now my question is taking a peep into the future. Do you see anything changing anytime soon?
That is what I'm saying.
Based on the policy direction. You don't see it.
I do not see it. Now, by January, there is already a 5% tax on petroleum. That if you buy 10,000 naira fuel, you pay 500 naira. Okay. Do the extrapolation. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes, I do.
Do the extrapolation. And then last week also, we were told that the CNG, the cost of CNG has also increased. These are issues. By the time you put these things together, and then you begin to know where the economy is headed. I'm very skeptical about this.
Now, when you say you're skeptical, the president actually said something. He said, we have met revenue targets. Nigeria won't borrow locally again. That was what he actually said. And he actually made mention of this when he was trying to, make the person of the world understand that Nigeria is no longer where it used to be. Everything is good. Economy has been stabilized. We have our own Okonjo Iweala coming up to tell Nigerians this economy is now where it should be. The only thing that we need now is to make sure we find a way to, to make it strong by taking it down to the ground. Now, are you saying that all these statements from the president is, we should take it with a pinch of salt?
He said they are not going to borrow locally, but they're going to make use of the bonds. Bonds are also borrowing. You are also borrowing. What I'm saying is that you cannot be saddled with a lot of debt, and then you are telling us you are met your revenue target. If your revenue target is, for instance, 100,000 naira, and you have a debt of 150,000 naira to pay, where does that lead us to? It is tantamount to, a movement without a shift.
At this point now, Mazi, are we to blame the president for all this, given the fact that, when after the fee subsidy removal, he decided to increase the FAC allocation to state governors? Like you pointed out, some governors actually accepted that things are no longer the way it used to be. They have more money now in their coffers. Are we to blame the president or the people that have more FAC allocation given to them now and they're not utilizing it to the betterment of the people?
What I'm annoyed with is telling us what it is not. I'm not blaming him. He's a human being. After all, he told us that we shouldn't blame, that he asked for the job.
You should pity him.
Yes, we don't pity him. Now, 2 years down the lane, we are still grappling with the fundamentals of the economy. What's my grouse is that tell us what it is. Don't tell us you have met your revenue target when you have a lot of things to do. It's taking Nigerians for granted. That's the issue I'm raising. The Nigerian economy cannot be growing under severe pains, and then the administration is telling us that they are doing the right thing, or that they have surpassed their revenue target and all that. When actually, you see, for you to be able to know whether the government has surpassed their revenue target, is for you to go on the street.
No, Maz, talking about meeting revenue target, there's an item in the news this morning that the federal government proposes to borrow $1.275 billion from the World Bank.
That's another one.
Despite the fact that we have met our revenue target.
That's what we're saying, that, the day the president made this observation, people looked at it and said, okay, what about the bond issue you're talking about? You said we are not going to borrow locally. And we are also owing local contractors. Yet, we are not going outside to borrow more. What I'm saying is that they should come up, he who goes to equity must come with clean hands. They should come up and tell us, we know the economy is bad. Tell us the truth. Nigerians can adjust. Not, using propaganda to, hoodwink Nigerians into believing that things are getting better. Things are not getting any better. We all go to the markets. Most of them don't go to the regular markets. They are in their houses, and then food stuff will be supplied.
Well, some will disagree with you that things are not getting better because the price of Gary has come down.
To what?
Yeah, to about, I think about 1,800 for the painter.
What was it before the administration?
Well, that's debatable. Some would say, oh yes, it was lower.
No, they are very quick in telling us rice has come down from 105 or 110,000 to 80 to 76. What was it when they took over? That should be the benchmark.
Now, when you talk about that now, Mazi, some persons will also come up to say that Nigerians are the architect of their problem. Recall when the president decided to open the importation window for people to bring in food, though Nigerians were saying that actually shouldn't be the right way to go. But you found out that some persons, especially those in the north, were aggrieved, saying that is going to more like, distort or destroy their own way of gaining money or getting, let's say, profits from their own crops. And they kicked against it. Now, isn't that more like Nigerians now still suppressing themselves? So looking for immediate solution on how Nigerians can at least manage the little resources that they have, even when we know we're having economic meltdown, not just in Nigeria, but a global one at this point in time.
The issue is that border and, opening up the border and trade, international trade, is within the purview of the federal government. That's where trust comes in. How was these borders opened? Which of the borders were opened? These are critical questions we should ask ourselves. It's not enough to tell us that, okay, you can now get this in to be able to, cushion the effects of lack of food and all that. How was it opened? Who are the people involved? By the time you answer this question, you begin to know why people are resisting.
So you think it's not people-oriented?
No. The government has what it takes to manage an economy. You see, when you sit in that high horse, you have a better view of what is and what is not. You and I sitting down here may not understand what, may not be privy to some of the basic information in terms of managing an economy. But when you get to a certain level, you begin to see some of those things, and then you'll be forced to take vital decisions that will, catalyze the economy. But they get there, they will not do the right thing, and they begin to do man no man. It is this man no man, in parentheses, that causes distortions in the economy. It's not that the policy of opening up the border is wrong per se, but it is the management of those policies.
That brings us to this next question. Are you now also aligning with what the Minister of Information said, that the present president's policies are not politically motivated, but for the people to benefit? Are you in other words saying that? Because, when we're talking about the policies that the president have chucked, I found out, okay, for example, the issue of the local government autonomy, that actually should have been a way for bylaws and other framework, development of it now to come to the grassroots. But we've seen some state governors still kicking against that too. You look at also the issue that we're having, surrounding the state policing. Today, in one of the national dailies, we learned that some persons from the north are kicking against that too. Now, what else do you think the president should do, or the presidency should do at this point in time, to push all this narrative down to the people, since people are now the ones antagonizing the policies that he's bringing out?
You see, the political elites, we have said it here and elsewhere, that part of the problem of this country is the political elites. Because it is very difficult to get them. They believe that once they are out of water, they will be gasping for air. That is what it is. So it is very unfortunate that when you see an average Nigerian say, what do you do for a living? Say, I'm a politician. When has politics become a profession? That is the problem we have. So the political elites are the people causing this problem. It's not the ordinary Nigerian, because they believe most sincerely that if certain policies are in place and implemented correctly, they will be out. Let's take, for instance, the issue of amending the Electoral Act to reflect certain things that will make the electoral elections in Nigeria transparent and accountable. They are resisting. So once you get to any point where they feel that their bread is not well buttered, they will resist. But it is left for the leadership to do the right thing, irrespective of whose house is God.
And what would the right thing be?
The right thing is to do the right thing. That is what it is.
Now we're looking for a solution now, because it seems like.
You see, let me deviate a little bit.
Okay.
2 days ago or 3 days ago, the governor of Zamfara said he knows where the bandits are. He can,
But he doesn't have the powers.
But he doesn't have the powers. Now, those who have the powers, what are they doing?
Have
they taken up the challenge?
Why doesn't he have the powers?
No, have they taken up the challenge? Our problem is not identification of issues or policy enunciations. Our problem is implementation.
As we deviate, isn't it embarrassing that the chief security officer of a state is saying, look, I cannot help you with insecurity because I don't have the powers? That's basically what he's saying. Yes. Is that not embarrassing?
It's not embarrassing, or it is embarrassing to an extent, because we are practicing federalism, where the central government, the subnationals, or the state or regions, and all that. And we have added the third one, that is the local government, and all that. But because of our history of military rules and all that, we have come to accept unilateralism as a way of life. So we cannot, it is very difficult for us to reverse, when we have adopted federal system of government, to begin to do what federalism is all about. We still have the police reporting to the IG. The other time, I think, was it during SARS and all that? I think Sanwo-Olu said, there was a banter between Sanwo-Olu, governor of Lagos State, and one of the police officers. He said, I'm waiting for directives from from Abuja. That is the dilemma of the average governor in Nigeria. What we are saying is that the moment we have accepted federalism, we should practice federalism. If we are practicing unilateralism, then let's go. In which case, we have a single line of authority and all that.
Do you think, at this point, with the kind of governors we have, do you think if Nigeria decides to restructure today, and devolve powers and have governors take responsibility for the resources within their states, the generation of wealth within their states and the rest, you think things will be a little better than they are currently? Do you think these governors will be able to handle it?
I think so, because when you check all countries that practice federalism, USA, Canada, and the rest, things are a little bit more better. The president knows that he cannot toy with the sub-regions, the governors, the states. The states also know that they are accountable to their people and all that. So what is important is for us to, if we say we've adopted federalism as a system of governance, then we should practice federalism for what it is.
Okay.
I still believe that there are more mileage, more advantages in federalism than in unitary system of government.
All right then. Well, we'll talk more about the governor that said, look, I know where the bandits are and I need the powers to flush them out. That's our next conversation. So let's get into it now. Thank you very much, Mazi Amobi. Now, getting into another conversation, I can end banditry in Zamfara in 2 months. I know there are hideouts. This is coming from Governor Dauda Lawal. And of course, the APC retorted, saying that, look, he's holding back information. Let's talk about this when we come back from this break.
Good morning. It's the start of a beautiful day. Or start your day right with a healthy dose of news, fun, and inspiration. Join us on VOP this morning for the latest news, trending topics, and uplifting stories to set your day on the right vibe. From news and current events to lifestyle and entertainment, you are covered. VOP this morning, 8 a.m., Monday through Friday. In a world where truth is the ultimate power and opinions scream the loudest, it's time to wade through the noise.
Hunger no get tribe. Hunger no get religion.
And scan the human interest and trending topics that matter. Stay tuned to The Issues, your plug to the stories making the buzz, from politics to science and technology, social justice, and more. Let's tackle the tough questions and expose the truth. The Issues on Voice of the People Television. Don't just react, understand. The red carpets, awards, the razzmatazz, music, fashion, interviews, and more. Spotlight on Voice of the People Television. Let's feed you with all the juicy stories in the global entertainment space, bringing you the glitz and glamour as they hot. Stay tuned to Spotlight, 1 p.m. Monday to Friday. Spotlight on VOP TV. Entertainment like never before.
Ever wonder what inspires your favorite gospel artists? Explore and discover the rich heritage of continental gospel music and how this transformative journey has evolved and shaped cultures around the world. As we dig deep into archival treasures, feel the energy in our praise jam, Gospel Fusion on Voice of the People Television. Tune in this Sunday, 3 to 4 p.m. and be part of a transformative experience that uplifts and inspires. Join us as we explore the transformative power of gospel music and its ability to uplift spirits and unite hearts. Tune in this Sunday, 3 to 4 p.m. on Voice of the People Television. Gospel Fusion. Let's fuse our hearts in praise and joy.
Hi, my name is Tosin Mohammed. I'm a gospel artist. Keep watching VOP TV.
Almighty Father, you are the mighty Redeemer. We've come to worship at your feet, oh Lord. This is Ayotunde Adejumo, chilling with you on the Voice of the People TV. Don't touch that remote. You are where God wants you to be. listening to the Voice of the People TV.
The Bible says we should give thanks in all circumstances, and all circumstances include the good times and the bad, the high times and the low, the times when everything look as if they are going well, and those times when Enugbe, the ground is dry like the sand in the desert. Those times when you feel like giving up, you should give thanks still. My name is Jeff Melu, and I'm a gospel poet, and you should keep watching VOP TV. Don't touch that dial.
Kábíyèsí Olúọ̀run, we were born to give you twale, to give you worship. People of God, you are watching Voice of the People TV, and my name is Flo Rocker. I encourage you to listen to things of the gospel. You know, we live in a very perilous times where there are some things you watch on television, you will lose faith, you will lose God. Keep your eyes on Voice of the People TV and remain blessed. Flo Rocker says so. Kuzoshi.
We encourage you to click on the like button and subscribe to our YouTube channel. We are Voice of the People TV. Also follow us on all our social media platforms. We are at VOP TV Live. Visit our website www.vop.ng for fresh and trending news. Also watch us live on SLT. The People Television.
Everybody keep watching Voice of the People. All right? Love you all.
Glad to have you back at VOP this morning. The Zamfara State Governor Dauda Lawal has boldly claimed that he can end banditry in Zamfara State within 2 months. Insisting that he knows the hideouts of the armed groups arise in the region, Lawal, who served until February this year, warned that the failure to act on his intelligence could worsen the humanitarian crisis and trust deficit between the security apparatus and ordinary citizens. His remarks have sparked widespread debate, with some praising his confidence and others demanding evidence of progress rather than promises. Meanwhile, a separate crisis unfolds in Nigeria's southeast, where Amnesty International reports that at least 1,844 people were killed in the region over the past 2 years, amid rising insecurity. The killings, driven by political assassinations, communal clashes, and militant activity, have thrown entire communities in the region into fear and desolation. Together, these developments paint a harsh picture of a country struggling to protect its citizens, one where security claims, political will, and ground reality remains worlds apart. We have with us in the studio here, we have Barrister Asim Adams, a lawyer, social and political commentator, and also we have another legal practitioner also with us in the studio too, who happens to be Barrister Eze Luche. Good morning, Barrister Eze Luche.
Yeah, good morning. Thank you very much for having me in your studios.
Good morning, Barrister Asim Adams.
Yeah,
good to have you join
you.
today's
Morning
conversation.
to you.
All right, interestingly, let me start off with you, Barrister Eze Luche. What do you have to say about this particular revolution coming from Dauda, saying that, we should give him 2 months and he will end the issue of insecurity in that particular state?
Well, thank you very much. You see, this kind of line of thought and thinking has been very persistent. And it only points to the fact that in Nigeria, the so-called insecurity or terror attacks is orchestrated. In fact, Nigeria has no security problems, except the ones that the politicians foist on the country. And that can be perceived from both from El Rufai's comments, that of the current governor, and what Nigerians see on ground. Nigerians see the military escorting these terrorists to commit atrocities. Nigerians see that, at the various places where these things have occurred, they have realized that the military will have checkpoints. A minute or maybe an hour to the time when these terrorists will strike, the checkpoints will disappear. Then the moment these terrorists have killed and maimed people, that same military will now come back and place their barricades. So the whole scam about this terrorism has been exposed. So Nigerians know that they now know that the governments are actually the ones orchestrating and perpetrating these terrorist attacks. And you will now ask yourself, why? Why is a government whose sole or primary responsibility should be the protection of its population Why is it now neck deep invested in killing its people? And unfortunately, this is all for political reasons. And this has continued for years. That is why from the government of Muhammadu Buhari to the present regime of Bola Tinubu, the message to the communities which fall victims of these terrorist attacks, these banditry attacks, is go and negotiate with your killers. A most stupid and incredulous advice. And it has been consistent. So Nigerians should not be worried or should not be surprised when the governor of Zamfara State spills out this. Because you ask yourself, who are the ministers for defense and who is the minister of state for defense? These are same characters which have repeatedly been accused by even the same governor that they sponsor and they orchestrate this violence. So when we say we are fighting insecurity, we are fighting violence, the international community laughs at Nigerians.
Can you say that also about what is happening in the southeastern part of Nigeria, where in the past 2 years we got a report saying that if over 1,000 persons, have lost their lives in that region.
And in that number is underestimated. And the reality in the south, because I live in the southeast, the reality in the southeast is this. On these roads, Owerri Onitsha, Port Harcourt, Owerri Aba, you will see a multiple of police checkpoints, security checkpoints, military, police, customs. When these calamities is about to befall the people, these checkpoints disappear. They totally disappear. And for the period when these killings are occurring, you don't see these rascal soldiers on the street. But then once the killing is over, you now see them come over. Okay, we're coming to take care of secure the environment, which is crap. So in the southeast, it's even worse because they engage in active shooting, active killing, using helicopter gunships to attack villages. And this is consistent. I mean, what I'm saying is not novel, it's consistent. So in the southeast, you have a situation whereby the government personnel come directly by themselves, or they use rascal elements like Asari Dokubo, who has severally come on air, even in the State House media room. He has said, I am the one killing the Igbos, water, and he mentions locations. He mentions locations where these killings are taking place.
What does this portend? What does this really portend?
What it portends is that, the government is executing a war against the population. Not just in the Middle Belt, where there's an active genocidal attack on the people, but also now in the Southeast, which was, prior to all these insecurity attacks, was the most secure part of Nigeria by UN estimations. So you now ask yourself, why are you trying to destabilize this Southeast? Why you have made the place almost unlivable. You have not put any infrastructural projects in the Southeast. People have tried to do by themselves what they can do. And this same government goes about killing people, making all sorts of operations that are targeted not at security, rather at killing people. And you'll be surprised. In the Southeast, do you know who enforces the Monday sit-at-home orders? Do you know who enforces it?
Oh, please.
It's the military and the police. How so? Good. Because people like us try to move out on the streets on those days. The same checkpoints will tell you, what are you doing? Go back home. This is a sit-at-home. I say, are you crazy? Nobody's enforcing these things. And this is the reality on ground. Are you saying when you attempt to disobey the sit-at-home order, get into the streets to go about your business, you get to a military checkpoint? Yes. And men dressed in military attire.
Soldiers, not men dressed in military attire. Soldiers, because you see the operational vehicle, you see the kind of armaments they have, and they tell you, what are you doing? You should go back home.
On what ground?
On the converse, you also see criminal elements. Because clearly...
Can you be a lot more specific as to the area?
The road.
Yes.
Good. Like along the Owerri, there's a place called Ukwoji, along the Owerri Onitsha Road. Okay. Then the Owerri Port Harcourt Road, you have multiple checkpoints. And most of them actually disappear on that clean up Monday sit at home. But if you will see that will try to make your life not worth living for daring to be on the road. And perhaps in the cities, you will not even see policemen manning traffic checkpoints on those days. They totally disappear.
Okay.
So this is the reality in the South. So when you see these characters come out and say they are fighting insecurity, they are blah, 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 the world does not take Nigeria serious. That's why when Nigeria mentioned that IPOB is a terrorist group, the UN, the US, UK told them to shut up. Because this is not rocket science. Like the governor said, with your phone, with your geolocations, with common drones, you can locate where these terrorists are, supposed terrorists are. But when you have a gang of 200 men on motorbikes moving, You can easily locate them, even with your ordinary Android phones. You can. So if the Ministry of Defense, the Nigerian Army, the Nigerian Air Force cannot do this, something is wrong.
Oh, well, Barrister Asim Adams, let's bring you into this conversation. Go and negotiate. We've heard that phrase. Go and negotiate with yes, the terrorists and those disturbing you. We've heard that. We've also, heard other, the youths have said, look, protect us. In Sokoto State, the youths have said, protect us, or we will pick up arms. What are the dangers of, insecurity, getting out of hand in Nigeria, or has it gotten out of hand already?
Yes. You see, for me, I really cannot, please, I'm not a security expert. I don't need anyone to tell me that there's a palpable insecurity in Nigeria. I know that there is no place Nigerians are secured. Apart from banditry, you have some other, existential problems that we have that pertains to insecurity. For instance, I saw a viral video on where a trailer loaded with cement ran into about 10 or 11, bystanders. Innocent people who were, waiting for maybe transportation to their various places. Now, on the other hand, I also read in Edo State where a particular trailer, mowed down, some people, and one of them is the sister of one of I think a very popular actress. You understand? So it means that no Nigerian man is secured. So even when bandits are not, worrying or maybe disturbing your neighborhood, you should be scared of some other things that are happening around you. So now, the problem we have is this. For any government to be 2 years in office and you have not been able to tackle the issue of insecurity, then you have no reason being in government. I say this categorically and very clear, succinctly so, in the sense that Section 14 sub 2b is very so written in lucid prose.
Okay.
That the primary reason why you, Tinubu, you are in government, the primary reason why you, Sanwo-Olu, you are in government, the primary reason why you, Dauda Lawal, governor, whatever is in government, is to secure, welfare and security.
But sorry to
you understand?
Sorry to bottom.
Welfare and security. So if you cannot do that, then you step down.
Barrister, but the governors have said, look, though they call them chief security officers, they don't have the powers because they don't give orders to the police.
That's a nebulous and plural argument. You do not have the power of you collect security votes on a monthly basis. So if you do not have the powers of a chief security officer for state, then what are you doing with the security votes?
Now, Barrister, let's take this thing down. Barrister, let's break it down a bit.
So what are you doing with it?
The governor said that he bought 150 brand new vehicles.
Yeah.
And then he distributed his vehicles to security operatives in the state.
Yes.
And then he told them about the prone areas where these bandits attack the people from.
Yes.
But they keep on saying that they cannot do anything until they get orders or information or directive from Abuja where they are.
That is not true. That is not true. That is not true. But when a governor wants to protect himself and his family in the village, he does not need the consent and imprimatur authority of the president. If you go to maybe a governor's residence, his palace in any of his the village there, you're going to see a coterie of armed, security men who are there, private and organized.
Okay.
Now,
it is true that the governor cannot even order the corporal in the police force.
No, it's
no. I'm sorry. Let me just. The governor cannot order a corporal or a private.
We understand.
So
we understand that.
So the box stops with the hierarchy of the
police. We understand that, but why the question I've asked is that pungently put, why are they collecting the security votes? If you cannot order a corporal, as you say, why are you collecting the security votes? That is the question I've asked. As the question, but nobody has answered that question.
No, it's simple. Now, if it's offered, you collect.
Oh, can you imagine that? That's corruption. It's all right. It's all right. It's okay. Don't worry, sir. Don't worry, sir. Let me just say.
The system is messed up.
It's all right. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Let me land on my thoughts. So what I'm trying to say is that, you see, security is something that
should be uppermost.
Okay.
You know, in the echelons of governance in Nigeria here. No governor can come and tell me I cannot secure his environment or his state.
All right.
Now, let me tell you, the governor, like you said, Phil, that he said he purchased about 1,000 vehicles.
About 150 vehicles.
About 150 vehicles. Yeah. Security is no longer like those people who used to hunt in those days. Security now, insecurity, security has to be controlled by technological means. It's not by buying vehicles, it's by technology. For instance, coming to this place right now, if I want to use the e-hailing vehicle here, I don't know where they are placed. Okay. But I key into my phone. He tells me his location. He tells me how many minutes it will take him to meet me where I am.
Okay.
At times I'll be in my bedroom, the man will call me and say, I'm in front of your house.
Okay.
So you have to geolocate. You know, some of these bandits, they know where they are.
Exactly what the state governor said.
That's right.
Barrister Adams, we'll come back to you.
Yes.
I'm happy that we have 3 lawyers on the show so we can make sense of
absolutely
from different perspectives. Now, let's go to Benin City, where we have Barrister Anthony Osola. He's a legal practitioner, public affairs and political analyst, standing by. Good morning, Barrister Anthony Osola, and thanks for joining us on VOP this morning.
Thank you so much. It's good to join you today.
Beautiful, beautiful. Now, I'm sure that you have followed this conversation. The governor of Zamfara State, Dauda Lawal, says, look, I have the powers. If you give me 2 months, I can eliminate banditry, insecurity in Zamfara State because I know they are hideouts. But I don't have the powers. What kind of power is he talking about? Do you have an idea? Because, I mean, he is designated as the chief security officer of Zamfara State. But he says, I don't have the powers. How are you able to situate with all of that? How are you able to relate with all of that?
For me, I feel the governor of Zamfara State is, playing to the gallery. I see his statements as a political, rhetoric meant to sway the minds of, the people of Zamfara State that he appears to have genuine intention in fighting, armed banditry and insecurity in his state, but that he is only, handicapped because he's not, the one in charge of the federal, apparatus when it comes to security. But I beg to disagree with him on that.
Okay.
This is a man who is saddled with the responsibility of the preservation and protection of life, which he has sworn, when he took oath of office to defend the people of Zamfara State.
Okay.
I do not think any person who is serious in tackling insecurity needs first to state it in the pages of newspaper and to the social media. Let him walk.
Okay, all right. Barrister Sula, I hate to butt in at this moment, but I just have to because I want us to get things clear. Now, the governor says, I don't have the power. You know that the governor is not in control of the State Commission of Police, is he? You know that the governor is not in control of the DG of DSS, the director of DSS in his state. Yes. He is not in charge of the brigade commander of any of the military commands, any of the military outposts in Zamfara State. And when he says, I don't have the power, you can recall instances where there were skirmishes in particular states and the governor calls the commissioner of police, please, can you step in? And the commissioner of police says, excuse me, sir, I need to get permission from Abuja and all of that. So where does that leave the governor of a state in the security architecture?
Yes, that's exactly what I am saying. Like I said before, I only feel that the governor is just playing political rhetorics. He need not tell us all this. We already know it. Okay. What we expect from the governor of Zamfara State, he can go to Abuja and meet with the president and tell the president the pressing needs of insecurity in his state. Let him work with the IG. Let him work with the director of DSS. Let him work with the Nigerian military and the Nigerian Air Force. You don't need to that come on pages of newspapers and hold social media, as a social media world press conference and begin to tell us that I can end banditry and insecurity in my state.
Now, Barrister Sula, I think we are generating more talking points here.
What you can do if given the opportunity.
Okay.
That simply shows that is a government that is not working.
Okay.
They can go to Abuja and do all this synergy without even letting the people of Zamfara know.
Okay,
let him come back and tell the people of Zamfara that he has ended insecurity and banditry.
Now, Barrister Osula, what should be the relationship between the central and the sub-national government in terms of fighting insecurity in a state. We hear the governor say, excuse me, sir, we hear the governor say, we need to be in control of the state, of our own police, we need state police. And the federal government says, look, the process is ongoing, and the process has been ongoing since the beginning of this republic. So, how do you now hold the governors responsible for the insecurity in their states when you know, in actual fact, that you admitted that, look, they are not in control of the state security, the apparatus of the state security apparatus in their states? You rightly said, if he's interested, if he knows what he's doing, he has to go to Abuja, meet with the IG of police, meet with the president, meet with the DG of DSS. Should he do that? Why can't we decentralize all of these things so that we don't get to hear, look, I'm not in control? I just cited, in fact, let me go to Enugu State. During the Ukwabi Nimbo killing, the governor put a call to the state police commissioner. The state commissioner said, excuse me, let me get orders from Abuja. The governor put a call to Abuja, and he was kept on hold for close to 6 hours. So, what kind of security arrangement is that? So, should we hold the governors responsible for what happens in their domain in terms of insecurity?
See, what I'm saying in actual fact is that what are we going to do with the statements of the Zamfara state governor? The people of Zamfara, what are they going to do with that kind of statement? Are they to applaud the governor and sympathize with him? That our governor cannot really work on insecurity because he's not getting the needed cooperation in Abuja, or because he's not in charge, of the federal mind when it comes to security apparatus in this country. What I am saying, rather than resort to social media, go to Abuja and do the needful. What you were elected, when he was doing electoral campaign promises, he promised the people that he's going to end banditry and insecurity in the state. We need not see him now on social media making complaints as if he's handicapped.
Barrister Osula, when you say he should go to Abuja and make us, and beg them to, do the needful, are you also saying that the people of Zamfara should migrate also to Abuja? Because from the look of things, it's more like even the call from Abuja is not coming in. Okay, what I'm saying is in fact that, there's this particular report where some persons have actually come up to say that even the military, when they want to act, some persons who happens to occupy better seats in the higher echelon will say you don't have to do it. These are actually information coming up from both the military and other security agencies that we have in Nigeria. Is going to Abuja now going to solve this problem? Would the people of Zamfara move to Abuja for their life to be secured?
The governor of Zamfara State has not informed us at anywhere. At least I have not heard that he has not gotten the needless synergy from the Nigerian military and the Nigerian Air Force. But what I am saying is that his statement amounts to nothing. There's still insecurity in his state.
Okay.
What we want is actions and results. Let him come back and tell us that he has been able to achieve certain results one way or the other.
All right, then,
he's a solution provider. He is put there to bring a solution and to ending insecurity, not to come to the social media and start complaining. If the governor is complaining, if given the opportunity, I can
thank you very much, Barrister Anthony Osula. Thank you very much for your contribution. Barrister Asim.
I wanted to add something to what my colleague in Benin has said.
Okay.
And to tell you that the excuses of the governor or the governors in Nigeria has no place. It's of no moment. Now, let me tell you why. Section 162, there is no governor today in Nigeria that does not know about Section 162. From the first subsection about revenue allocation. I get my point now. These same governors are saying that are helpless when it comes to insecurity and control in their state, are not helpless when it is time to dip hands into the allocation
you seem to be
of
more
local
concerned
governments.
About the revenue.
No, I'm talking about
the revenue itself.
If you don't know, yes, of course, if you do not have anything to do, there is no need for you to begin to collect that particular, allocation on a monthly basis.
Which is better.
It's very important.
No, sorry, you have an international audience. You have to correct this issue.
I'll come to you, please. We'll come to you.
That's right.
Now let's talk about a governor is saying, look, I can solve it, but I don't have the power.
Absolutely.
Another governor is saying that, look, don't talk about insecurity. Media, don't talk about insecurity. And I'm talking about the governor of Kwara State.
Okay.
He said, don't talk about insecurity because you're making the government, you're making his administration look bad. What do you make of that statement? Is that utilizing his powers
that is asking the media not to talk about
asking the media, yes.
No, it is wrong of him. Section 22 is very clear of your 1999 constitution, gives you the powers as the media organizations to hold government responsible.
Now, the governor of Kwara is saying that look, we are solving it, right. We are working on it, so don't talk back.
No, you cannot say that is gagging the media. You cannot gag the media because you have that particular powers given to you has been given vent by Section 22 that says that the media, it mentioned the media, highlighted the media, that the media has that responsibility to hold government at all levels accountable and responsible. So it is your right to talk about anything at all.
Okay.
As it pertains to politics, so it cannot gag you.
All right, then. Let's bring Barrister Ezeluche into it.
Thank you very much.
Want to react? Go ahead.
The reality is that the Nigerian Constitution places police, the military, ammunitions under the exclusive federal legislation list, which means state governors, local government chairmen have no access or no right to issues of police and ammunition. Now that handicaps these governors. The security votes, like I said, is money given, they take it. But in terms of what
Barrister Sim is saying, what Barrister Sim, what I understand by what he's saying is that security vote has been given, so it should be used to solve security issues.
How? When you cannot even talk of weapons without the police coming in. And let me tell you something. The
logistics. I'm talking about logistics.
The governor of a
you
state.
Can aid the police. Sorry, you don't have to. I'm coming. I have to butt in. I'm sorry with due respect. I'm sorry with due respect, sir. You do not have the powers to acquire ammunitions.
Okay.
It is because of that. That is why you see some of the governors will intervene by doing what? Buying, vehicles for them.
Same thing.
So you understand the point now.
Okay.
So there's a way you can collaborate with them, even though you do not have.
Right, so
you understand? So there must be that particular
you're playing around these issues.
That's fine.
The fact is this: there is evidence severally that this military, the police, are not even interested in tackling this insecurity in the states. The military only defend even their bases. When the NDA was attacked, the military only defended. The soldiers who were sent in pursuit said, we are seeing these people running. They were told not to move. So the reality is this. The governors do not have, yes, the answer is Chief Security Officer of the state, but that's part of the scam called the Nigerian Constitution. It's a fraudulent document that gives him the title of Chief Security Officer, but no control over one bullet. If you have a gun today, you need to get approval from the Nigerian police officer of police headed in Abuja. Okay. Now, when the governor says he cannot, he knows what to do but cannot do it, he's very, very factual. Even as an individual, I know what to do to address insecurity in my community.
Okay.
But I cannot do it. What can I do? There are $1,000 vehicles, which are these drones, which are weaponized, which you can buy. And with that, you can locate physically where these characters are. But what do you see? The Nigerian government, the customs will seize it when you buy it.
All right.
And they will not deploy it. So please stop blaming these governors.
Okay, let's look at it. Will it make a difference if the governors get to become in charge of the state police, of the police in their state? Do you think it will make a difference?
Oh, that is presuming. Even the governor himself wants to address security issues. Like in Imo State. If you make Hopus or in charge of security, we are still where we are. Okay. Because if it's a governor or an elected leader that was not elected by the people, you are still where you are.
Okay,
but
so basically, you don't think that the security architecture is the issue.
No,
the issue seems to be with credible leadership.
Credible leadership, and it's not, why I say it's not the issue is this. In the states, for instance, in other democracies, you have federal setup, you have the state, you have the local government, you have the county, each armed. So that there's no way they can all collude at the same time to distort security issues. In the United States, the school I attended had security, had armed guards. You cannot say because you are a federal police, you come and steal, or you come and encourage terrorists to come and infiltrate the school, your head will be blown up. But you have in Nigeria a situation whereby it's just the man in Abuja. That is why, for instance, like the governor of Tinubu State's call was not picked up for over 6 hours. And that is why they still tell the people, they tell the communities who have been devastated to go and negotiate with terrorists. So the issue is not the governor being the Chief Security Officer of the state, but is embedded in our constitution, which empowers the man at the center with all powers, leaving the constituent parts of Nigeria with absolutely no powers. A state governor does not have a control over his orderly. The orderly of a state governor is delegated by the State Commissioner of Police, who is appointed from Abuja. So even the governor is not even sure. You might be told to, okay,
so what's the way forward now? What's the way forward?
Because is the Constitution.
It's not the Constitution. That is where I disagree with. It's my point of divergence.
Yes.
See, I agree somewhat with what you are saying.
Yes.
But my point of divergence is that being realistic and being practical, as the case may be.
Agree.
The question I've asked is this.
Yes.
I've seen governors, like in River State where I come from.
Good. Okay.
You understand the point now? I remember there was a time, you know, the governor of River State said, I have a security workout plan.
Yes.
I know that without consent from the federal authorities, I cannot execute it.
Good.
He took that plan to the president and said, Mr. President, under your powers, can you unleash and let me take advantage of this and secure my neighborhood?
Yes.
And what will happen? Militants that were there, they ran away to Lagos State. Most of them, because if you look at what happened, kidnapping started first of all on the Niger.
Who was the president then?
I'm coming.
Who was the president then?
I don't want to call the name, but he's the president. It's the same constitution that we operate today that was operated as at that time. You understand the point now? But the governor as at that time meant well for the state. He felt that this was giving the state a bad name and a bad record. So now what he did was to
create the impression that we more like alliance with Barrister.
Yes.
The fight for insecurity is discretionary. Because
that is what they are doing.
Now my question is, what if the president at that time chose not to take that?
Then you will not know. Then you cannot extricate yourself from that particular whatever.
And exactly that is what
look at what is happening.
Governor
He
is
has
crying out for.
See, listen, with due respect.
Okay.
He came on. He said, "I know where these people are." He has not told us he has gone to the presidency and he was denied.
He said, "I don't have the power."
No. What I'm saying,
must go to the president.
You don't understand. I gave an example. Excuse me, sir. I gave an example of the River State government as at that time. What happened was this: militancy was the order of the day. I remember in River State, Port Harcourt, you cannot come out in the daytime to drive a flashy car. Now, the governors at that time knew that he was impeded by some constitutional provisions. And he could not order people to,
So basically, the constitution was a problem.
Was a problem. Wait, what he did, he went beyond. He went beyond. I'm asking them now to go beyond the constitution.
How far do you want them to go, Barrister?
Prepare, not begging. Prepare a roadmap. Then you take it to the president. If you not say, I'm not taking it, they will not know what to do.
And even the traveling president like this one,
we can all agree that the constitution itself is a problem.
It's not a huge problem. Somewhat a problem, but not wholly. That is my take.
But
don't blame it on the constitution.
We have names of terrorism financiers being given to the government of Nigeria by some persons who have actually done the, let's say,
and nothing happened.
And bring it to
we have discussed this over and over and again today. If you want us to discuss and profile it, I've said that was very wrong of the Buhari administration and even this particular administration. They're not taking those people to court or prosecute them. But in this case of insecurity, the governors are blaming the constitutional provision, which we already know.
Before
solution, what are the solutions? That is what we should look at now. People are dying. Are we to amend the constitution immediately and wait for people to die? Or you take proactive action?
From this conversation.
That is what I'm trying to say.
Christopher Musa has said that, look, learn self-defense.
But he denied it. He said he didn't ask us to carry weapons, as case may be.
We heard him say,
let me tell you.
He said learn self-defense.
That's right.
All right.
Do you know what happened? Do you know how the governors at that time, when soldiers invaded under the authority of the president, soldiers came to Port Harcourt, and immediately it was like a state of war.
Who sent the soldiers?
You understand? That is what I'm trying to say, that this particular governor should be as proactive as that governor was.
Thank you very much, Barrister Adams. Gentlemen,
you don't sit down and say you are done because of your constitution and you calculate money.
Unfortunately, we are out of time, and this is an ongoing conversation. And I hope that we can talk about it some other time, because it's more like developing. Governor has said, another governor might just come up to say something another time. But the issue borders on, we have agreed, the analysts have all agreed that, look, we seem to have a problem with the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. What to do with that is up to Nigerians. Well, let's move on to the next topic of discussion. Procurement fraud. Nigeria is still seen as corruption, agony, and gold. That is coming from the EFCC chairman. Join us again in a moment. We'll be right back.
Welcome back. The chairman of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, Ola Olukoyede, has delivered a sobering verdict. Nigeria continues to be perceived globally as a hub of entrenched corruption, largely due to endemic manipulation of public procurement and contracts. He revealed that more than 90% of fraud in the public sector stems from procurement abuses, including practices like contract splitting and funds diversion acts. He also noted that several derailed infrastructure and development projects nationwide is being caused by all this. Olukoyede underscored the urgent need for tighter collaboration between the EFCC and the Bureau of Public Procurement to curb these systemic abuses. Despite marginal improvements in global corruption ranking, Nigeria rose 5 spots to 140th in the 2024 Transparency International Index. Olukoyede cautioned that international metrics offer only a snapshot of this particular issue. He emphasized the need for sustained internal reform, transparency, and accountability at all government level to genuinely restore the nation's integrity. Ministerial pledges won't cut it unless truth and nail actions follows, he insisted. We still have with us here in the studio Barrister Asim Adams, and also we still have Barrister Eze Eluche also still sitting in the studio. And then also we'll be joined also by Barrister Anthony Osaz Osola from Abini Outstation.
And also we'll be having Mazi Amobi Ihegboro join us virtually for this conversation.
All right, let's start off with you now, Barrister Eze Eluche. What do you have to say about this particular revolution coming from the Czar of EFCC? Recall that the president somewhere in Brazil, made the president of Brazil to know that there's no longer corruption in Nigeria. Say Nigeria is now a corrupt-free nation.
That was a huge joke. Nobody took that statement serious. And when we look at the EFCC is talking about procurement issues, it's not just procurement of in terms of contract or infrastructural issues, but also procurement of personnel. When you talk of procurement, it also you have to employ staff and buy stuff. You now ask yourself, how was the EFCC chairman himself appointed? Was his appointment legal? Was it within the normal framework of the laws of the EFCC? I mean, that is the root cause. So you have a looker at himself who was not, because the EFCC Act provides that he must be an officer of the rank of commissioner of police or thereabouts, and then from nowhere, a man gets picked up and is made the FCC chairman. That's where even the issue starts. When this government came into office, the very first project the government launched, the East Lagos Calabar Coastal Highway, without any process. I'm not even talking of due process. Without any process, it was handed over to a character, and then without even environmental impact assessment. They didn't even know the proper route or the channel the road will go, because they destroy a house today, the next day they say they are sorry. So the man is he's working in a government that procures personnel without due process, issues out contracts without due process, and he's here talking about procurement. Come on, give us a break. Nigerians are not dense. Remove the log in your own eyes first before talking of Nigerians. So the reality is this: yes, no doubt, the issue of procurement is part of the problem, but it's more deep-rooted, and it's not only restricted to contracts. How are the staff recruited? How are the ministers allocated? Does it fall in line with federal character principles? Because if they are laid down provisions of the law, you must try to abide by it. I mean, when you look at only the figures dished out as contracts, or how contracts are applied for, the contracts are applied for based on who was employed as ministers or as EFCC chairman to oversee these things. So once there is a defect, ab initio, from the very first onset, all else will crumble.
All right, then.
With regards to the Transparency International assessment of Nigeria, it's nonsense. You know why I say it's nonsense? Receiver and taker of, both the receiver and the giver are also culpable. Now, Switzerland should, in my own estimation, should be the most corrupt country in the world. Reason
because that's
where all the billions are done from all over the world. But they have this crazy corruption percentage index that they say African countries are the worst. They are not the worst. The person who receives billions is the most corrupt. Perhaps after Switzerland, you talk of Luxembourg and maybe Great Britain. Don't talk of Nigeria. We're only stealing blood and taking it over there. But they are receiving.
Okay.
So he should
All
not,
right, then.
no, he should stop talking of corruption perception index
All right,
or
then.
castigating others and look at the FCC and
We're
Nigeria.
working within a limited time frame
Yeah.
for this conversation. Let's get to Mazi Amobi now. Let's bring him on. Mazi Amobi, let's have you join this conversation. You left us and ran somewhere. Well, he joins us virtually now. Mazi, let's have your take on this.
Yeah, the issue of corruption has been overflowed. Corruption is one aspect of our life that has endangered the growth and development of this country. Administrations come and they pontificate on what they want to do about corruption. Some few months and years down the lane, they begin to prevaricate. You know what I'm saying? Many people have accused the present dispensation of using EFCC as a political tool. The important thing is that we have rendered the institutions weak and then made the individuals very, very strong. Until we reverse to making the institutions strong and the individuals weak, we cannot talk about fight for corruption.
Okay.
The other time, because of the plurality of Nigerian society, it is very difficult to fight corruption. If you bring somebody from the north, for instance, Tambuwa, they say, no, he's a political opponent. It's because he's from the north. If you bring somebody from the south, no, why is he now doing it from the south? It's, if you bring a Christian, no. They are, persecuting the Christians as against the Muslims. So what I'm saying in effect, because of the heterogeneity of this society, it becomes very, very difficult to fight corruption. Assuming Nigeria is a homogeneous society, these things can be played down. But in a heterogeneous society, it becomes, people will almost
All right.
link to, certain things to begin to floor the anti-corruption crusade. Generally, the Nigerian state, the president, the government in power should be able to be a little bit more transparent in this fight against corruption. Corruption is a cankerworm that blows no one any good. Unless you take out the issue of corruption, even the whole process of procurement, like my colleague in the studio has said, it's very blood.
All right, then. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Well, let's get this. Let's go to Barrister Anthony Osula. Let's have your take on this one very quickly, please.
Well, corruption is a recurring decima that has eaten deeply into the fabric of the Nigerian state. It is a discussion that always comes up, at every household or at every meeting. Well, I must applaud the EFCC chairman. I'm not really concerned, like the other guest speaker has talked about the relevancy as to how he got his appointment, but he has pinpointed something that is very crucial in our Nigerian state.
I didn't want to interrupt. I just wanted your view, but I'm forced to do so at this point. Applauding the EFCC chairman, Ola Olukoyede. Remember, he did say that he was going to prosecute Yahaya Bello or resign from office, but he's not been able to prosecute Yahaya Bello, and neither has he resigned. Has he given up? Has he accepted his fate? Has he accepted that aspect of corruption can live with the people?
Well, the EFCC, under our laws, is part of the justice system, and the EFCC chairman has done his investigation, and they have filed a charge against Yahaya Bello before the Federal High Court. And I believe at that stage, there's really nothing he can do other than wait for the court verdict. He has the EFCC prosecutors, and arrays of witnesses that are there to give evidence in respect of the corruption allegation charges against the former governor of Kogi State. At this stage of our judicial jurisprudence, he has to wait for the verdict of the court. So
what are you applauding him for?
Don't see at this point
what are you applauding him for? We have to be serious with ourselves.
Let him wait for the court verdict.
All right, then. Thank you very much, Barrister Anthony. Barrister Asim Adams, go ahead.
We are talking to Nigerians.
You see, the point is this. You see, I understand my own colleagues' anger with the system.
I don't have anger. It's reality. What are you applauding him for? He's done a bad job. He got his office in the wrong way, and you are applauding him. For what?
I see. Let me say, with due respect, corruption is as old as Nigeria. I remember when I was writing my, WASC, we used to call it in those days. So I was going through some past question papers of WAEC. There was one particular topic that touched me even till tomorrow. He says, corruption is a cankerworm that has eaten deep into the fabrics of the nation called Nigeria. Discourse 35 marks. That is as far back as at that time. So if by this time we are unable to, eliminate or maybe reduce corruption, then I believe that we are not moving forward. The government of the day, the last government, and even this particular government, they are not serious about fighting corruption.
All right.
The EFCC, for me, they are doing their best by arresting Yahoo boys and prosecuting them. But I want to ask a question. There is a procurement act, and that particular procurement act, gives condition. If you go against it, you are supposed to be prosecuted. How many people have been arrested and prosecuted based on procurement fraud, as the case may be? These are the things we want to see. You understand the point? So, but I know that if they say they are fighting corruption, they are not fighting corruption generally, the way it should be fought.
All right, then. Thank you very much, Barrister Asim Adams, legal practitioner, civil rights activist, former spokesperson, Chief Beatrice Etubal, Peter Obi Campaign Organization, Labour Party, River State 2023. Thank you very much for your time. Big thanks also to Mazi Amobi Ihebero, public affairs commentator. And also, thank you to Barrister Anthony Osas Osula, who is a legal practitioner and a human rights advocate. And also, let's appreciate Barrister Eze Luche, the public affairs commentator. Thank you very much for your time on the program. Well, that's it on VOP this morning. But newspaper review comes up next. And some of these topics will come up and we'll go deeper into the conversation during newspaper review. Join us again at 10. On behalf of my colleagues, Chukuma Okoro, Fina Okechukwu, I am Moses Humphrey, wishing you a beautiful day. Join us again at 10. Bye for now.
The 2564 Atlantic Tower.
What happens in the hush behind hangar doors?